Because you know what it's like? We look amazing with our makeup, and then you take off your makeup, you start feeling less off, So I wanted to remind that woman when she removes her makeup and she's had a long day and she has to look after kids and make dinner, find 1,000 ways to make chicken look good and be a good wife. Hug their child and tell them you love them, help them with their homework till 10 o'clock at night, and try start a business and just remind the woman that you're enough, that you are enough, what you're doing, you are enough and you are worth the love, you are worth, the good things that are happening to you. So that is where we ended up when it comes to that. I wanted to share with other women that they are enough and that they're worthy.
Hi, I'm Carla. You're listening to Free to Be Curious. I've named this podcast after the values of freedom and curiosity. These inform and motivate the self-directed lifestyle choices that my family and I enjoy. I hope my guests inspire you as much as they inspire me. Welcome back to the Free to Be Curious podcast. We post weekly and we record our podcasts in the Riverside.fm online recording studio, and we use Buzzsprout to host our RSS feed. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Deezer, Amazon, and YouTube. Hit subscribe on our YouTube channel and click the bell icon to be notified when new episodes are released. Head on over to my website and sign up for our newsletter too, as that way you'll stay up to date with all our releases, promos, discount codes, and more. Join me on these socials, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. All of these links are in the description below and in the show notes. My guest today is Nondumiso, who is known as Nondi. She is a wife and mom to two beautiful kids, Ricardo and Giselle, and a previous salon owner with a passion for DIY and a passion for sustainability. She currently works for a big corporate as a new business developer, but there is so much more to Nondi than that brief bio that I want to share with everyone. So I met Nondi about 12 years ago when a colleague introduced me to her, because this colleague, her name is Sarah, was the most stylish and graceful person that I'd ever encountered, and she had the most beautiful nails. And I just wanted to be Sarah and have Sarah's nails. And I think I felt in my young self that if I could have those nails, I could be as brilliant as Sarah. So I was determined to have Sarah's beautiful nails, and she very generously shared the contact with me of Nondi, and I started to go to Nondi as my beautiful nail technician. And I think that relationship is so intimate. When you're spending an hour or more with one person every few weeks, you actually build such a connection and a relationship. And I'm so grateful to Sarah that she introduced us, because you're such a beautiful person, Nondi. And I'm so excited about what you're doing now. You've progressed from salon owner to having your own business and e-commerce store, which is incredible. And we're going to talk all about the product that you're making and supplying, and just generally how you're managing it all and how you do it all. So we're going to go into a deep dive into your product and who you are and how you do it. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Carla. It is crazy that was 12 years ago that we actually met, hey?
I think at least. I'm just estimating.
Yeah, it is. It is about. And I was at your wedding. Do you remember that?
Of course.
I was at your wedding. We celebrated your wedding.
Of course. We had so many overlaps and connections that I think is so beautiful. And for a long time, I was just off Facebook and I never went on Facebook. And when I went back on one day, when I realized I had to, because now I had a podcast and I had to use Facebook as a tool, I discovered that you were the person behind these amazing wipes, Nomusa makeup reusable facial rounds and makeup remover pads.
It is crazy because it's so funny. Even though we'd met through Sarah, you then connected me to quite a lot of people. I don't know if you realize the impact that you had on me in terms of like how I look at money and stuff. So I remember you introduced me to my first financial advisor, who, by the way, was so amazing. And he was just so helpful and he was good at like helping people. And I think for me as a business owner at that time, I didn't actually know how to handle like my financial affairs, like I knew how to handle my business. I knew what the business needed and all of that, but like to get life cover, to kind of set myself up and have proper insurance for my business. And then you introduced me to Adam, and it was the best relationship I ever had with my financial advisor. And then I remember later on changing careers, thinking, what can I do? And I thought he had such an impact on me. I would love to help people the way he helped people. So I don't know if I ever told you this, but that's how I ended up almost like where I am in terms of my career in the industry. I ended up there because of the impact that Adam had on me.
Nondi, I did not know that, but I do remember spending a large chunk of my nail time talking about money and how to grok money. So it's interesting. So talking about that, can you take us through how it all began, this business, from conception of the idea to sourcing the materials to the design of the product to the absolutely stunning box that your product comes in, and then actually putting yourself out there, and how that experience actually compared to what you thought it would be?
Yes, thanks, Carla. So the listeners may not know this, but a couple of years after owning the salon for a few years, and it was really starting to get at that successful stage, my husband had an opportunity to go and work in Mozambique. And we literally just took a leap of faith, and we were like, we can do it. But that meant that I needed to make a decision for my business, which was a hard decision. So we then I sold the business, and we packed our bags. We took the children and literally took Giselle, and we went to Mozambique to try this life and see how this works for us. And whilst we were there, even though it wasn't a successful move, unfortunately for us, it wasn't a successful move, there was a lot of life lessons that I kind of got from that opportunity to be in that space where I needed to think. It was probably the first time in years that I needed to just slow down and think. And in that sort of space or in that process, you start looking around for your comforts. We all have our comforts, and it was difficult finding my comforts, like the best place to do my nails, or because I love having my nails done. I mean, I used to do people's nails. I kind of need to have good nails, and yes. Things like looking after my skin. And I remember just going, they've got ShopRites there. So I remember going to a ShopRite store and looking for like normal facial, normal pads, the normal ones that we've been buying for years, those round ones to remove your makeup. And I went into a Checkers, and I remember thinking to myself, this is expensive. It feels like I need to sell a kidney just so that I can remove my makeup. Yes, pricing is a little bit more in Mozambique because of, most of the things are not made there. Everything is imported. So it really, really costs a lot of money. And just being at home and doing my DIY and looking at ways that I can have a better life without having to spend money every single time I needed something, I started thinking, well, what if I made them? What if I took like a towel and I cut up a towel and I made them for myself? So I'm not the best sewer. Can I just put it out there? I know how to put a button. That's as far as I can do. And I, with my creative thinking, I went online. You've got so much time to go online. I went online and I started looking like what other options are there. And I joined a group from New Zealand, and it was a group where the ladies were doing like do-it-yourself, solutions that you can do for home. And one of the ladies actually had facial rounds that she had made for herself. So I started dotting it down and thought, I'm going to make those, but maybe I know that I'm not the only one that needs them in Mozambique at that time. So I thought, I'm going to make them, and let's see if my friends would be interested in actually having them and using them. I didn't get to making them, but I wrote it down. And I remember phoning a friend, a Joburg friend, at that time. And I said, I'm thinking of doing this, but I don't know how to do it. And he just laughed and said, you're so creative. For you to make it like a small little thing is probably not going to happen. I can see you doing it a lot more further than what you think you want to do it like, I put things down, had an idea, put it all down. I started looking around as to if I can find material. What's the best material? Because then I realized fast and furious, or very quickly into it, that towel material is not the same. That's not what you use. And I wanted it to be sustainable. Sustainability is a big part of, who I am. I'm all about can we do it for a long time without breaking our backs, So I looked at that, and then materials were a big problem. Then I put it on pause whilst we were there, because I thought, okay, maybe when we get back or go back to South Africa, I'll be able to do it proper. It should be easy in South Africa. In my head, I was thinking, it's going to be easy when I get there. I'm going to go around, I'm going to source material. I know quite a lot of material stores. This is not going to be a problem for me at all. We get back to South Africa, reality started kicking in when I started doing research for material. First of all, we don't actually make bamboo material in this country. Obviously, we don't grow bamboo, and it's quite a hassle to find bamboo distributors in South Africa. So that was a mission and a half. It took me, I'm not lying to you, 2 years to find material. 2 whole years to find material. And for me to find material actually meant I needed to humble myself, because you obviously want to protect your intellectual property, because now I had this whole idea I've been building into it, adding things that I thought would be amazing for this product. But also I was quite nervous to share with a potential person that could help me, because I thought, well, if I tell them a little bit too much, then they might just launch the product before I do. So there was also that sort of I could take and pause. Do I want to do it? Do I want to not do it? Do I want to tell someone? Eventually, I just contacted somebody and I said, I see this is what you're doing, which is a total different, it's an opposite product to what I'm doing. This is what I want to do. I was just vulnerable and honest to this lady. And I said, this is what I want to do. And I wanted to find out from you, would you share your supplier for the material with me? And she was so amazing. People are really amazing, Carla, out there. People are honestly amazing. And she just said to me, yeah, I would love to help you. This is my next time that I'm getting my shipping. This is what I pay. We obviously can share in the cost of the price for Korea. This is what we can do. And she was absolutely amazing. So we did that. That took a while because we then started getting into COVID. But now, at the back of everything, I still didn't have a name for my business. I'm doing all of this. I don't even know what it's going to be called. I have an idea of what I want for it, but I didn't know what it was going to be called. And so we started with the process. But I must say, it was a lot harder than I thought that it would be. And to be honest with you, I had more no's in this business than any other interviews I've ever been to. I've had people shutting down and saying, unfortunately, we cannot help you with this. We don't do it in this country. It's going to take too much time. The volumes are the biggest thing as well. It's you need a lot of volumes, and for the amount that you want it for, it's impossible, which then meant I needed to go back to my drawing board and say, okay, what are we looking at doing? Beginning with the end in mind as to what I wanted to do and just building it through the process was an interesting journey. But even now I still get no's. But you know what? I'm at a place right now where I see it as not a no, but a redirection. Then I start thinking, okay, what else can I add to it? But I must say, with all the no's that I've received from people, there were quite a lot of maybe try this or maybe speak to this person kind of thing. So I'm still grateful for that part of the journey, which was the hardest part of it. To getting here. But we then I ended up getting the material, establishing a relationship with the supplier, which is awesome. And now we needed to get somebody to make the stuff, because I can't make the stuff. I have a full-time job. How are we going to actually do it? And that's when the journey started knocking on doors. asking people, can you do this for me? Can you give me samples? Which also was quite a lot of, we can't help you. I'm busy with bigger projects. Looks like a small project, but it's actually a big project because of the volumes. So, yeah.
Wow. Nondi, that is incredible. There is so much about Nomusa that I actually didn't know. Yeah. And we haven't even gotten into the name yet. But just pause on that for a minute. I just want to show our listeners how beautiful these makeup remover pads are for one moment, if I can just take a moment to do that. So the box is absolutely stunning, the design, and we're going to talk about that as well. And then inside, you'll see these beautifully sized and absolutely beautiful in feeling and texture with material makeup remover pads that you use to take off your makeup. And obviously they're reusable. So there's the sustainability. And in terms of the material, you mentioned sourcing the material, and I knew that was going to be a big thing to talk about because when I use them, they are so soft and beautiful. The quality of the material shines through. And when I wash them, they come out perfectly clean. So it's a testament to how great the sourcing of the material was and how great the material actually is, that you clean them, they come out perfectly clean. I actually brought some to show everyone that I used last night. And I mean, these are used ones, guys, and this is a new one. So, and I haven't even dried them properly like on the washing line yet. I just sort of washed them, and I didn't even wash them in the machine. I washed them with my soap. And I was wearing makeup. So the material is, I feel like it speaks for itself in its quality. And also it's beautiful on your skin. You know, like, we're going to talk about how you've made it, Nomusa, be kind and how kind that is. But I find I'm being kind to my skin when I use something like this. So I just wanted to show everyone that. And then also think it's interesting that you mentioned that you've become so resilient with the no's, in that if you get a no, it's like a redirection, which isn't that what we try to teach our kids, right? Sure. Like, I mean, it's a lesson as an adult.
Yeah, it is, because it's so hard. I mean, you take it personal. I think, even today when I get a no, it's like, don't you see what I'm trying to do here? Like, I've got a thing here. There's something here. Like, can't you see it? But, we're all in different areas of our lives as well. And it might be a no today, and it probably would be like an introductory no. So I'm introducing something and somebody says no, but later on they're like, oh, hang on a minute. Somebody told me about this. Then they come back, So I've also had that as well. So, yeah
that's also good.
It's a life lesson, true.
It's good for other businesses to know, not to give up. I mean, I feel like no's are totally wounding. And I even was chatting to my husband last night about something, and he was trying to steer me to a no. And I was like, do not derail me. I'm free and curious. Do not derail me.
Please don't say no to me.
We're only talking yeses. This poor guy's got to put up with
Watch yourself. You live in this house.
Yes, exactly. And how did you come up with the design in terms of the roundness and circle? Yes. Is that just the practical side, or how did you come up with it?
So with this New Zealand group, I then kind of started chatting to the lady on the side, and I asked her what is the size and why did you get there? Because I was honest with her, I said I would love to do this in my country. We don't have anything at that time. We didn't have anything in South Africa. What is the chance? By the time I get to launch, there's a handful in South Africa. Then you start thinking, should I even be launching? Because I'm no longer unique now. There is quite a few in the market, kind of thing, which is also can be such a scary thing, I think, for any any entrepreneur trying to get something off the ground. Is when you see big companies doing it, you have that sort of inferior to them. Then you start thinking their budgets are bigger. How they're doing it, because I know what I've went through to do it, and they've just launched. So yeah. So she gave me the sizes, and she kind of was like, she doesn't know why she ended up there. She referred me to Amazon. She was like, I saw stuff at Amazon and I just followed that. And then I went to Amazon. I'd never heard of Amazon before. I went to Amazon and started looking, and there was also quite a few at Amazon. There was a few at Amazon. I started reading a lot more into, what they're doing, how they're doing it, just to have an idea as to the direction that I'm on. Does it make sense for the country that I'm in? for the customer that I'm trying to target or speak to. And it was quite interesting to see that I was almost on point, but not almost there. So I had to make a couple of changes to get there as well.
And who is the customer? Like, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that in your market research.
Yeah. So the customer would be a woman like myself, and I would include you as a customer as well. She's a woman that says, I care about my money. Like, I care about how I spend my money, but it's not about the money. It's not I wouldn't say it's like a cheapskate, but it's more a frugal person, because a frugal person is not a person that say, I buy cheap just so that I can spend little. It's a person that says, I'm willing to pay and save and pay a little bit more so that I can get a better product at the end of the day. And that customer will say, okay, I'm also a woman that cares about the future and cares about the environment. And I don't want to go to the shops and use, that use once mentality, that culture that we've been sold. She understands the consumer side of things. She understands that you cannot use something once and just put it in a bin. That doesn't make sense. So that is the woman that I'm looking at. She cares about her money, she cares about her environment, and she cares about her country, because it is also about the country, is the fact that we are able to produce high quality products in South Africa as well.
I love that. I think the term that I use is the conscious consumer for this particular woman. It's the conscious consumer. And I don't even think it's limited to women, because my son is also using it. He loves using it. I guess your main group of customer is the woman who wants to remove her makeup with kindness to the environment and the skin and her pocket. But I mean, they're totally usable anyone. So they're 10 in a box, which I love. And I'm currently only using 4, 2 for myself and 1 for each kid.
Oh, wow.
So in sustainability terms, this one box of facial rounds is going to last me forever.
Yeah.
It's such a sustainable product.
We're looking at over 5 years. Wow. And I think as a business owner, I knew this. I knew this going in, that it is going to last the customer a very long time. And it's so funny, because I've had advice on, why don't you just make it 3, then the customer will come back to you in 3 years' time, as an example, just putting it out there. And that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted the customer to have that sense of, it's okay if they're not coming back every week. I'm not selling food, this is a lifestyle. This needs to sustain the client. It needs to make financial sense as well in a long time.
I just love that. I absolutely love how you've kind of grokked this consumer who is conscious and built a business model that meets that consumer's needs. And I consider myself to be that consumer. And as I said in my previous podcast with Simon Penn from Smell My Pits, I said I am so particular about what comes into contact with my body and my skin that I can only recommend something that I myself use and feel confident using and feel comfortable using and believe in the values behind that product. And I can absolutely do that with your product because of its sustainability and everything else about it. So can you tell us a little bit, now that we've spoken a bit about the concept of how you came up with it and your experience, can you introduce us to the story behind the name, what it means, and the little extras that you've included on each makeup, removable, reusable makeup round, where you've got your name and you also have "You Are Enough"? Can you take us through all of that?
Yes, definitely. So after I started sort of going out there and creating the product, and I still didn't have a name. I had an idea, the concept was there. I started working, started sourcing, the work was already in. I was in the middle of it, but I still did not have a name. So quite a few names did come up, but they just did not make sense at the time. So 2 years ago, actually 2 years ago on the 25th of Jan, I lost my mother. And in that process of losing my mother, a few weeks later, I started thinking, like, what has my mom left for me? Other than like possessions, what did she leave for me? And I realized my mom has left me to be kind. Just be kind to myself, to be kind to people, and just be kind. Like, it's so much easier to just be kind. And then it felt like the answer was sitting in front of me and I didn't realize it, because we named Giselle, which is my daughter, Nomusa, which is her second name. And Nomusa means be kind. Oh. So it just, and my mom's name that did not end up in her ID, but all the people that knew her as a young person still called her Nomusa. She was such an amazing woman in terms of like how kind she was to people. You know, and the one thing she taught me was just to be kind to myself, which is the one thing she wished somebody had told her, because she always put people in front before herself. So yeah. And then it just felt like, oh my gosh, we have a name. We have a name. I remember saying to my husband, I think we have a name. And he was like, we do? I was like, yes, we do. Oh. Gosh. So I told him, I said, I think the name is Nomusa. And then, it just made sense, because the concept is all about being kind to the environment, being kind to our skin, and being kind to our pockets. So the Nomusa kind of it just fitted in, and it made sense. It was personal. It had a little story that I wanted to share the legacy of my mom, pushing the kindness and also teaching me to be kind. Now I'm pushing to my daughter to be kind to herself, but also to be kind to others, which is the one part that my mom wished she had been, which is kind to herself. So that is how we ended up with the name Nomusa. And
that's beautiful.
Yeah, with the little messages that I've got inside, or when you flip the pads, how the messages came about actually was through the journey of getting the nose and seeing a product all of a sudden pop up in stores that everybody knows. It's like, oh my gosh, now I'm in too deep now. Like, I've been doing this. I'm already like 3 years into this. Like, I can't back out now. I need to just carry on and finish what I've started, kind of thing. Yes. And that moment of darkness, that moment, I think most business people, I know they go through this, where you have the self-doubt. Like, the one morning I remember waking up feeling like, who do you think you are that you can launch this kind of business? Because I know in my head how big it is, even though somebody else may have not seen it. And I started thinking like, who do you think you are? But I was like, well, I am that person. I am that person that's going to do it. And I needed to remind myself. So it was more a journey that was myself, which is more knowing that I'm enough to do this and knowing that I'm worthy to do this. But then I wanted to share it with other women, because you know what it's like. We look amazing with our makeup, and then you take off your makeup, you start feeling less off, So I wanted to remind that woman when she removes her makeup and she's had a long day and she has to look after kids and make dinner, find 1,000 ways to make chicken look good and be a good wife. Hug their child and tell them you love them, help them with their homework till 10 o'clock at night, and try start a business and just remind the woman that you're enough, that you are enough, what you're doing, you are enough, and you are worth the love, you are worth, all the good things that are happening to you. So that is where we ended up when it comes to that. I wanted to share with other women that they are enough and that they're worthy.
I'm totally in awe of your inspiration for this name, after the legacy of your mom, who actually left you such value in terms of self-worth and that sort of thing. And also how you just integrated it, even with Giselle's name, her second name, and the history with your mom. And this Be Kind is ginormous. It's a ginormous paradigm shift to be kind to yourself. And really, how can you be kind to anyone else if you're beating yourself up and not being kind to yourself? I don't know how it's even possible. And I also struggle with this be kindness. That doubtful voice is constantly there. We've even spoken about it in prepping for this podcast, and it's just constantly there. And then to be reminded, it helps so much to see something visually and read it. So it's going in subconsciously. Every day I'm looking at these makeup remover pads and I'm thinking to myself, you are enough. So it's having such an impact on women to see that message. And it came from you from such a place of just kindness yourself and the wish to share it, which I think is it's absolutely phenomenal. So well done, Nondi, on the name.
Thank you.
It's beautiful. Nondi, can you describe to us how we use these makeup remover pads and what we would use them for and how to use them, how to wash them, how to take care of them so that they do last as long as they should? I think taking care of ourselves is one aspect of being a consumer, and then also taking care of the precious products that we're using is another aspect. So can you take us through that?
Yes, definitely. So you would use them to remove your makeup. So the typical usage of your normal use once cotton, you would use it to remove your makeup, eye makeup, and they're actually quite amazing once you've removed your makeup. So I have one that's always hanging in my shower. That one, because my makeup is quite dark, I use it to remove my makeup with like a little bit of the masala water. You can also use it with just normal water, just plain water, or if you've got the masala water, because I love the masala water because it's also quite nice on the skin as well. And it's also hyperallergenic, which is very much like the bamboo material as well, being hyperallergenic. The two works quite well together. And I use it to remove my whole face makeup, around my neck and everything. And then I just rinse it up. Normally that one, I wash it with soap because, as I said, my makeup is quite dark. But I've got one that I've allocated just specifically for that. And then I also have one in my shower where I use it with my soap and I exfoliate. It's got like an amazing mild exfoliate on the skin, and you'll see the residue actually coming out. And it's absolutely amazing when you see how clean your skin looks. Because I remember like the first 2-3 days I started using it, I was like, oh wow, my skin's got a bit of a glow. But it was actually, my skin was like, I am clean finally. You have cleaned me. So it really, really works well in that sense. And I'm glad that earlier on you mentioned that you've got two that you use for your kids, because it's also very nice to have it in your emergency kit as well, for if your kid like hurts themselves on the knee or somewhere and you want to just clean their wound a little bit up as well. It works amazing as well for that as well. And I've started like running. I don't know. I know. I can now say I'm a runner, like around 3 times.
Congratulations on this life shift.
Thank you. So I started running, and I find that what I do is I put one on my thumb when I run, just so that I can wipe my eyes with, because it's terrible when you can't see and you're all sweaty, you know.
Yes.
So I just use it to wipe my eye around my eyes as well with it. So it really, really works. And for people that are using it to, there's quite a lot of customers that say, I love using it to put products or to actually use a toner. For the people that do use a toner, it's amazing to use it for a toner, because I remember when we had trials, I had quite a lot of trials. With the trials, the one concern was it was soaking a lot of products. So we had to go back to the drawing board and change the product up a bit so that we are able to use it for a toner that it doesn't soak up all the products. So I am confident to say to all the toner users, it is good also to remove your toner with as well. So yeah, that's what you would use it for.
That is so interesting. And I must say, I was surprised at how effective it was at moving eye makeup. I was still kind of stuck in getting that cotton wool. I was creeping to the cupboard to reach for the cotton wool in the plastic packaging, the thing we're trying to get away from. But I was so used to it after years of conditioning, because this is my first reusable makeup remover pad that I've ever tried. So I was conditioned to reach for the cotton wool and reach for the cotton wool. One day I thought, but Nondi said I can remove my eye makeup with this. And I put the product on, the eye makeup remover, and it swept it off beautifully.
Lovely.
So you can use it on your eyes, which is, I think, very special. You know, so you really can get away from the use once cotton wools and cotton makeup pads that you buy from the shops. So it's a very effective product. And I also did notice that it's thin enough, thick enough to get enough water on it, but thin enough to dry quite quickly.
Yes.
So I think that's the design that you had.
That is part of the design, yeah. So it was 3 layers. It still is 3 layers, but it's now 3 layers of the bamboo and a natural cotton, because cotton, funny enough, we can get cotton. We can get 100% natural cotton in South Africa. So it's 3 layers. So we went from 3 layers of bamboo, because bamboo was too much and it was quite bulky as well, which is not what we wanted, you know. Right. We didn't want it to feel like it's a cloth, because that's not what it is, to how we've redesigned it. So yes, now you are able to, it is thick enough, but not too thick that it soaks up too much product. And I don't know if you've noticed, it's also bigger than the normal cotton in terms of the roundness.
Yes, I've noticed that. Which is why I asked you about the size, because it's a much more practical size than the cotton pads, which are, I would say, about that big. I'm not sure, but it's much more practical. You get more coverage, and you're not scrimping this thing to like kind of get what you need to get off your skin.
Yes.
The size is excellent. Yeah, all around, the design just has really amazed me.
Yeah.
And in terms of the care of the makeup remover pads, you recommend, you do get a beautiful, when you buy the box, you get this beautiful washing machine bag, which means that you can put your makeup remover pads in the washing machine in this bag, and then they're looked after. They don't get lost where all those socks go. And also they don't get, I suppose, stretched or damaged when they contact other stuff. So do you recommend washing them in the washing machine?
Yes, yeah. So it can be hand wash. Funny, I've had quite a few clients that are like, no, just wash it with water and I hang it in my bathroom. I would recommend, obviously, if somebody uses like darker makeup like myself, the one that you're using to remove makeup is obviously to have it proper washed as well. Because it's an absorbing material, you might not be able to remove all the soap in unless you really like go in, full force to wash it. But you can hand wash it. Definitely recommend that as well, because hand washing is also eco-friendly.
Yeah, and it is.
Yeah,
the washing machine's also eco-friendly because you're doing it with a load.
Yes,
so it's with everything else.
Yeah. And the washing is still less than the amount of the traditional cotton. Growing cotton needs a lot of water compared to bamboo, and washing it means you're using water, but you are loading it with a load of washing, which is you're saving water as well. There's a water saving aspect in that as well.
I noticed. So that ties back into how sustainable the product is. It's not only sustainable in the sourcing of the material and how you're doing it, it's also sustainable in how you look after it. It's just incredible. So that's amazing. And Nondi, can you tell us how people can buy these products, about your online store, about any shops, and also where you ship to?
Yeah, so I ship in the whole of South Africa and Mozambique. Obviously, Mozambique is my first love. The product was born there.
Yes.
So I ship in South Africa and I ship in Mozambique as well. And the product can be found. We've got an online store. Our store is called Nomusa.Africa. So you can go into our online store and you can buy from there. We do have other distributors like Made by Artisans that are also selling our product as well. And we've got quite a few stores around the Northcliffe area, which is where I am, that are also stocking the product as well. But yeah, we are available online. We have a Facebook page, and we've also got an Instagram page, which is the Nomusa.Africa, where you can reach us.
Okay, we're going to put all of those links in our description on YouTube and in the show notes so that people can easily find you. And I also wanted to mention that we've got something special for our listeners. And thank you for the generous discount coupon. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that, about the offer?
Yes. So for all your listeners, I'm quite excited to share that we are going to give them a coupon of 25%. So with a 25% coupon that they'll be able to shop and get the product and experience the product and literally just share the love to their skin and, to a friend as well, which is quite awesome. And it's going to be available till the 31st of March. So yeah, I'm very excited.
Thank you so much. That is so generous. And guys, if you want to get that coupon, you can subscribe to my newsletter on my website. We'll put the link and you will receive the coupon to your email once you do that. And thanks, Nondi. That's really a big way to share the love and to be kind to everyone who needs a little bit of help affording things these days.
Yes.
And you ship everywhere in South Africa, is that right?
Yes, I do.
And you said you ship to Mozambique as well?
To Mozambique as well,
okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And how do you manage this all? How do you manage running the business, having the job, the full-time job in the corporate, being the mom and the wife, and developing this whole concept? How are you doing it all?
It's hard. I won't lie to you and be like, oh, no, I'm doing it like a breeze.
Thank you for being honest.
No, for real. It's not
I'm sweating
easy.
all day long, I'm telling you.
It's not easy, but you know what? I also realized that we don't do life alone. Also to just give some stuff that I can't do to my husband, because there's a partner to assist me, like if Giselle needs to get to ballet and I can't do it, then he's able to pick up that and get her to ballet. And, some evenings he'll make dinner as well. So that help makes a massive difference. But having a full-time job and running a business, how I actually thought that I can do this was having a support system for my business and creating a support system for the business. And the reason I did that actually, Carla, was from the experience of having a salon and realizing that if you run a business like how I ran the salon, I was the salon. I realized when I sold the salon, and it wasn't, after I sold it, and I ran it for like almost 6 years. And the person that had it, they had it for less than a year and they had to close it down. It made me realize that I was the salon. And when I looked at businesses that I could do and having this idea, I looked at how will I do this that I don't become the business? How do I run the business but not run the business?
Well, that's so accurate, because one of my guests was Gareth Price from Investment, and he said the problem with some small businesses is that the person isn't running the business is running the person, and it's totally not sustainable.
No.
So I'm so excited to see how you actually managed to do it.
Yeah. So what I did is I sat down and I looked at what do I need to run the business, right? I looked at the store, I looked at the bookkeeping, I looked at the social media marketing, I looked at all the aspects of running a business like this kind of business. And obviously the CMT, which is the cut, make, trim, which is the manufacturer that I use to manufacture the product for me. So I had to look at all of that. And then I thought, okay, the best way to do this is to build relationships with other business people. So the person that does my bookkeeping is a business person. This is her business. If I forget to send her my books, she will send me an SMS and say, your books are due, right? She doesn't work for me. I don't need to push her. She's motivated by her own business. The person that does the social media side of things, she knows by the first, everything needs to be out. If I forget to send her something, she'll be like, I'm waiting for pictures. I'm waiting for this. And I'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry. It's coming, So I had to build that community to say, I need this person, I need that person, I need, all the different types of the aspects of the business that makes it run. The ecosystem, it's an ecosystem based on people that are also running their own business. Even the person that manufactures the product, she's got her own, she runs a business. She knows how it works. She'll say, okay, because of load shedding, I can't, my staff is working from this time till this time. And she's an amazing woman. And she's got a structure with the staff that she has and herself as well. So she fits me in within her business. So and also there's a level of respect, when a person runs a business, they know you run a business and they know what it takes to run a business. So that is how I'm kind of getting it right. Is the fact that I've got this ecosystem of all these other women that are working towards sustainability that I'm working with, and they're running their own business and they've got a structure in place. It's a community. I'm not able to do this on my own. It will break me because there's a lot to do.
There is a lot to do. I'm just loving what I'm hearing, because honestly, I just see a very mature business person in front of me, and I only this year just figured out outsourcing. Literally my whole life. I was trying to do it all up until this year when I started a podcast and I tried to edit it myself. And the podcast recording was 1 hour and I spent about 3 weeks trying to edit it, and then I didn't come right, and then there were mistakes, and then I couldn't come right, and then I was just like, oh wait, there's specialist skilled people who know how to edit. And it changed everything.
Yeah, I read a book by Rabbi Daniel Lappi. If you ever have a moment, he is absolutely amazing. He talks about a Jewish people, and he has this whole aspect of business and understanding. And he talks about that we shouldn't wash our own cars when there are people that are washing cars. And that also made me look at it differently, to say there's a person that does this for a living. And if you're helping them, you actually, it's a good thing because you're paying them to do a job and you're sustaining their lives as well. So that kind of concept came from there and from my past experience of being the business and realizing that being a business is not a good idea. And I mean, I don't know if you remember when I was pregnant and I didn't even take that much time off.
Barely any time off, actually.
Yes, I was like, business is going to fall apart. Yeah.
You actually couldn't afford to if you are literally the salon. And I mean, you are such a lovely person to be around. It doesn't surprise me that people wanted you and the salon, not just any nail technician. I mean, I've never had my nails actually done ever again since I stopped doing them and you moved to Mozambique. Like, wow. I mean, I can't. It's just, there's a relationship that is happening there. And I wanted to just also mention, it's so amazing because Simone Penn from Smell My Pits, on her episode, she said so much of the similar stuff of how important it is to have the confidence to outsource. And you even said you love DIY, but you're not going to sew these rounds yourself. You're not going to cut, make, trim. Did I just learn a new term? CMT. Yeah. I love it. You're not going to CMT yourself in between your job. Like come home from your full day job and then start cutting, making and trimming and packaging. It's just so amazing to see that. And I think that this grokking how to outsource is so important for our mental wellness. Because you could be doing your own books, but now you're getting someone who does books all day long to do the books as their job, as their business. I'm so happy you're not doing your own bookkeeping. I mean, really.
Yeah, I'm blown away. I'm like, you guys are amazing. Is that, like, yeah. And it feels like they always have a trick. They're like, this is what you should do. This. And I'm like, this is amazing. They're like, Nondumiso, remember, this is what we do every day. I'm like, oh, yes. You guys are so cool.
That's right. And the social media person is has an experience with social media every day. And I'm so grateful to my producer, who's also just like a social media wizard, because I just can't. I don't even know. I couldn't even find Instagram recently. Like, I didn't even know I had to ask him, like, Miguel, where are we on this Instagram thing?
Yes,
and I've had to, like, actually accept that outsourcing is part of success. It's hard to accept. I mean, I've even recently outsourced my own, like, tax to a tax practitioner because I'm not doing tax every day.
Yes.
So why am I hurting myself and my family by holding on to the tax when someone who does it every day and is a specialist can do it as their work that they've chosen to do? So thank you. That's just, I'm just actually really inspired by what you're saying. It gives me the confidence to do more on the outsourcing because you've said it's so big to run a business. And then the funny thing was that you mentioned load shedding. I best fill in our non-South African guests as to what this term is. And in South Africa, we have planned power outages. And from a certain time to a certain time, your electricity goes off and you just live with it, right?
You do.
We spoke about it last night. Nondi and I had a little chat last night, and she said to me, what are you guys doing about the load shedding? Are you installing solar? Are you doing this and do that? And we had a little conversation about how whatever the solution is, South Africans just seem to get on with it.
Yeah.
And your business part, your supplier who's helping you with the cut, make, trim stuff, she's got her set up to accommodate load shedding. Yeah. And you get your product even though there's load shedding.
Yeah, she's got a whole structure put in place, and it's like, I'm just blown. She knows, if I phone her, she's like, at this time we're going off, we're going to be on at this time, and she's able to also let go of her staff at a certain time. She's like, okay, if it goes off at this time, you guys need to leave because you're not going to be able to do anything. There's a flexibility that you need to be in, resilient as well, that you need to be, with our load shedding schedule. But, we survive and we make it work. And I made a joke and say we almost have like a Stockholm syndrome, where it's like that husband that beats you up and brings you a bunch of roses and you're like, oh, I love you. Thank you. After you've been beaten up. It feels like that every single time when it comes to load shedding. But yeah, we are still grateful nonetheless. And, there's a level of resilience that one needs when it comes to the load shedding.
It is. We are so resilient as South Africans, and we're going to talk about South Africa in a minute. I just wanted to mention that in my latest vlog, I said that I've just got this one mantra that's just like gratitude for what I do have. Because if I had to think of all the things I don't have, including not having like a fundamental thing, electricity, I would go mad. So I'm not complaining about not having electricity. I'm just like, well, when I have it, I'm so lucky. And it is a little bit Stockholm syndrome-y, but we actually don't have a choice to just like roll with the punches here. And okay, so talking about South Africa, we may not have electricity all the time, but we do have some amazing stuff going on. So can you share with us, you know, what it's like to start this business, even though you conceptualized it in Mozambique, to actually start running it in South Africa? What are the perks of running a business here? What is the potential you see in the country? And why are we just so great as South Africans?
Yeah, I must say, with all our challenges, and I look at South Africa as a household, and I think to myself, okay, like as a home, we are not perfect people, and we're not going to run a perfect household. We don't have all that we think we want, but at the end of the day, we are happy. And the one thing I can tell you about this country is, as I said, the level of resilience that South Africans have is absolutely amazing. In the last few years, with everything that's been going on, I mean, I've just taken part in a UK business tech business school. I was one of the selected people, and I did that, which was absolutely amazing. But in this group, there were quite a lot of cohorts in the group that I actually learned from. And I realized something. We were all South African, but the creativity that we end up having with being put under pressure with, you know, with our circumstance, in this case, the electricity, it was like so many women were coming up with ideas on what we can do, how we can better our country. I was just blown away. So for me, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I mean, we've got the opportunity to be in Portugal because my children and my husband are all Portuguese. We can pack up our bags and go to Portugal, but you know, it's not going to be perfect. There's issues everywhere in the world. All countries have got their own problems. It's all about, with the problems we have, what do we do about it, you know, as a South African? And for me, I think it's more a case of, if my government won't be able to do that for me, what is it that I can do, you know, to better this country? And just by being kind to each other is another step to just saying we are all in this together. It's in different levels, but I am going to be nice to you because I don't know what you're going through. So I wouldn't want to be anywhere else than be in South Africa. And I feel like we are growing. I think South Africa is going to get to a level where it's going to be amazing, because there is so many things that are happening that not all of us can see, that are, you know, are potentially going to set us up in the world. And I think we are going to be fine. I really, really think we are going to be fine. It's easy to just pack your bags. Well, actually, it's not easy to pack your bags and you go live in another country. I know what that
you would know,
like.
right? You would actually know.
It does seem like, you know, it's much easier. Like, you almost need to pick, like, you know, what struggles you want, kind of thing. But in terms of the country itself, have I lost hope in this country? Never. I have not lost hope in this country. I think we are set. We are going to grow as a country. We're growing as individuals, which collectively makes this country. So the people we're impacting, we just need to be also mindful of how we're impacting them, because that means they're also impacting the next person and the next person and the next person. And I think it's a ripple effect, and it's very, very important. So running a business in South Africa is hard, but it's also, it can be done. It honestly can be done. And most corporates are so supportive of people having side hustles. Obviously, you need to look within the structure of your corporate. You obviously don't want to, you know, run a business that is in line with what you're doing at work. That would be wrong. But most corporates are really supportive of people running small businesses on the side, because they understand that it's becoming harder and harder. And also, it's just, people are much happier when they're doing other things that they enjoy on the side. Right?
I'm telling you, when people can follow their passion, even if it's the side hustle of the passion, for mental wellness, I just think it's really like one of the best things that they can do. And you're right, in what you say, it's so similar to what Gareth Price from Investment said. He made a joke and he said, you know, why would he want to be anywhere else? There's just so many problems in South Africa. So then there's so many opportunities that we can take advantage of. We've got one of the most problems. So we've got one of the most opportunities. And I always kind of laugh, but also love how he phrased that for us. So, so that's beautiful, Nondi.
Yeah.
We are quite a solution-driven people as South Africans. And Nondi, you've come so far from the concept of the idea to actually achieving the idea. What is next for Nomusa Be Kind?
I'm quite excited. Thanks for asking that. Actually, I am excited for what's next for the business. I think we are available to white labeling. I don't know if I shared this with you, because I know what journey took for me to get here. And I know that a product owner that owns like a range of products that would like to add value to their customers, they can come to us and say, well, I would love to have Nomusa and brand it with my business name. They can definitely do that because we are open to that. But I'm very excited as to where we're going. We are in talks with a couple of people, and I'm excited as to where we're going to get. Like, I can't share some stuff because it's still in the talks,
Yes.
but I'm very, very excited to see where we're going. But we are definitely moving up every single time. We're busy with trademarking at the moment, which is important. It is also important to protect your intellectual property. So we're doing that. So that is exciting, yes. But just be on the lookout. Be on the lookout to see what's coming. But I think some big things are going to happen.
I believe you, and I really believe you when you say that. And as you mentioned the white labeling, I thought, oh my word, I could walk into anywhere and sort of see these reusable makeup remover pads, and I would know that they're of the wonderful quality that I'm used to with Nomusa. And I can just sort of see like a vision there. And also just to tell our listeners, watch this space, because exciting stuff is coming. And stay tuned and follow Nomusa on social media, and that's where everyone will hear about all your exciting updates, which I think is very, very cool. I also wanted to just ask you some other questions about sort of on the topic of advice that you've received in your life and advice that you would give. So what's one of the best pieces of advice that you've received on your journey?
I think the biggest one was from my late granny. You see, I love the women in my life.
Yes.
My late granny, she put it in another way, but I think what she meant was nobody's coming to save me. And I didn't understand it because it felt like, oh my gosh, like I'm on my own. Like what? Like, it sounded harsh. But the older I get, I understood what she meant. Like, nobody's coming to save me basically means if I've got homework, I'm not going to just sit there and then somebody's going to come and save me and do the homework for me. I've got to do the work. If I've got to cook dinner, I can try and get my husband to do it. But if he's not there, I kind of need to cook the dinner. The kids are coming, Exercising. Nobody's going to run for me. Nobody's going to write that exam for me. I need to go out there and do it, Yes. So it's when I say nobody's coming, that advice that nobody's coming to save me basically means that I've got to stand up and do it. People will help you once you've started, but I can't just sit there and hope somebody's going to just come grab all my problems and just make them go away, So that would be the advice that I've received.
It's such sage advice because I think what it means is that on the other side, nobody's going to save you, but on the other side, you can do it all. Like, you're empowered. It's up to you to choose to make the dinner and then make it happen. I just love all these references to your real life as the mom and wife, because it's so real that you are actually a business owner, but also you have the family and the responsibilities and the kids coming home and they need that 100th variation on the chicken dish that you're going to go and find on YouTube later.
YouTube it, darling. YouTube
it. So, thank you. That's beautiful. And Nondi, what advice would you give other people who are starting out on a journey either of being kind to themselves or their own business? What would you like to share?
Start. Just start.
Oh, beautiful.
Just
I love
start.
it.
Hey?
Nondi,
just
that's
start.
tops.
And I've heard other, speakers say things like, you don't need money to start. And I used to think, oh, please, like, really, you need money for everything. But actually, you don't.
Ideas are free, I think.
Ideas are so free, it's not even funny. It's ridiculous, Just start. Is it that degree that you want to work towards? Just start, Do you want to start running? Just start walking,
Start with one step at a time.
Yes, I remember when I started running, I had these shoes. They were cute. They were more like, I look like a runner kind of shoes, like bright and pretty, but I actually wear them to go to the shops, kind of shoes. And I remember they started tearing at the top when I started running. And that was an excuse to say, don't do it because you don't have the shoes yet. And I was like, I'm going to run with my torn shoes until I can actually afford a proper pair of running shoes. And that kind of confirmed it for me. Just start,
Just start. It's such good advice. I love it. Simple but very deep. And is there anything that you'd like to tell your 20-year-old self out there, that Nondi who was so young, that you'd like to share with us?
Yes. I think I've shared this with you many years ago, was I would have loved to save more. If I had to speak to myself now, it would, I always think that's the one advice when Giselle's ready and she starts making money, is to just put away money. The culture of saving, unfortunately, that was not passed down to me. And that's the one thing I would have loved to know in my 20s, is to put away money. As little as whatever it is, just put money away. It really, really does help. Get into the habit of it,
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
so
amazing advice.
Saving.
Nondi, I'm absolutely filled with admiration for the journey that you shared, the business that you're running, the fact that you also have a full-time job and people can know that there's a full-time person with a full-time job behind this business and this brand, and you're momming, you're being the wife and you're running the home. I'm filled with admiration for you. I really am. And I wanted to say, we met so many years ago in what feels like a past life, when I was in my corporate job and hadn't yet had the kids and totally rediscovered my sense of self. But we always did have what you called a chemistry between us. So I'm so grateful that it's that spark of chemistry has survived all these years, and lifestyle changes and changes of where you've even lived. So I appreciate you and thank you for spending this time with us and for sharing so generously about your journey and about your product. And congratulations on a brilliant idea and actually achieving it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Carla. I really appreciate it. Like I said to you, I said, thank you for choosing me, because the reason I said that, I didn't want to sound like I'm being a motivational speaker and be like, thank you for choosing me. It's a lot more deeper than that. It's like, you've got a choice as to who you would want to be involved in. And you can't, by coming to the salon every second week, it was a choice that you were making. Like, I'm going to go to Nondi. You didn't have to do it. And I mean, if I think how far you used to come
I drove
to the
so
salon,
far, Nondi.
It's amazing. And you used to come with cappuccinos even.
Did I really? Oh, yes. I still love coffee. I also still love sharing my coffee.
Yeah, I know you did. Yeah, you used to come with cappuccinos. Be like, Carla's coming. There's a cappuccino coming. This is exciting, But I must say, you've instilled a lot of wisdom and a lot of experiences in me as a person. And like I said, I don't think you realize the impact that you've had. And the people you've introduced me to was also absolutely. You introduced me to Nina. I love her.
I also do. I think that we're both surrounded by just a group of really amazing people, and like you said, some really amazing women, moms and sisters and soul sisters and grandmoms and stuff like that. And I wish you so much success with your business and to carry on achieving as you are. And I'm sure we'll be hearing more of you in the future.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me today. I really, really appreciate this.
Thank you for spending this time with me. I love getting to know my listeners. So please do subscribe to my YouTube channel and on your chosen podcast app. Engage with me in meaningful conversation on my comment-friendly blog, and send me an email to share your self-directed life story. My website address is the Free2BCuriouspodcast.com, and my email address is Carla@Free2BCurious.com. I really look forward to getting to know you.